It's wild. What is it that sets this game apart from other MMOs? I would go into my normal 20 to 30 minute rant about why this game is different than other MMOs, but it's getting late and I probably don't have the time. The TLDR is MMOs these days are what are called generally theme park MMOs, and EverQuest, the best way you could probably call EverQuest is more of a sandbox or social MMO. And these MMOs are just not really made anymore. These types of MMOs kind of went extinct because they don't make enough. They didn't make enough money. So, yeah. But the TLDR is it's not a theme park MMO. Yep. Red-Eyed said, I think he just badmouthed Final Fantasy 14 chat. Get him. There's nothing wrong with theme park MMOs. They're different. They're just different. They don't hit the same. They don't hit the same. Tiny Blip in History says, want a very anime MMO? See Genshin Impact. I don't want to stop you there because you are right about the anime, but Genshin Impact is not an MMO. Yeah. Different genre. Different genre. Would you recommend EQ2? Not necessarily. I played EQ2 for a long time, but EQ2 is a fine MMO, but it's not a great EverQuest 2. I know that sounds kind of weird, but EverQuest 2, instead of it being like the next EverQuest, is more of a combination of EverQuest and World of Warcraft. So it's kind of cool. I had a lot of fun in EverQuest 2. I did a lot of raiding in it. It was a good time. But EverQuest 2 was essentially them taking the world of EverQuest and wanting to make a theme park style MMO out of it. It wasn't really like an actual EverQuest 2. They changed what it was to be EverQuest from EQ to EQ2. So, and granted, like I loved EQ2. I played it for years, and I was in one of the top raiding guilds in the world, and raided every night at 8 p.m. for actual years. You know, it was fine for what it was. It was one of the first big theme park MMOs with WoW and that kind of stuff, so it was good. But yeah, it just wasn't a great EverQuest. Yeah. Oh. Ooh, I got double attack now. Nice. You ever played Dungeon Siege? Oh yeah, dude. Hell yeah, loved Dungeon Siege back in the day. Anyone remember Vanguard Saga of Heroes? Funny story, Tuma. My name is CohhCarnage. The Carnage in my name is from the guild I used to lead, Carnage. Carnage started in Vanguard Saga of Heroes. So Vanguard holds a special place in my heart. That is where my namesake basically originated, was Vanguard. Nasai said you used to lead a guild. You know. I'll lead a guild here and there. Yeah. For like almost a decade. Yeah. Hey, Spoontus, what's up, buddy? I liked Vanguard. Vanguard was cool, but it basically was like 80% of an MMO. Vanguard was really fun, and then you got to the end game, and you were just like, so where's the end game? What do we do now? And it sucked. And it also had some problems getting to the end game on top of that. But yeah, there was literally nothing to do with the end game. The only thing there was to do was PvP, and that's what we did for weeks and weeks and weeks. But there was nothing to do with the end game. Nothing to do. Did you ever play Dark Age of Camelot? I did. Yeah, I had a good time at DOC. Yeah, DOC was great. DOC was great for the PvP. Yeah. They also did some really cool stuff with it. What was it? Atlantis? Trials of Atlantis? Yeah. They did some really cool stuff there too. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what server you were on in Shadowbane? Dread. I was the siege leader of the alliance that owned the Dread server. Yep, I was the guy that led all the raids, and we pretty much owned that server. Any reason why Carnage is a guild name? It was voted on by the guild. Yep, there was just a big vote, and they voted on the name Carnage. Mm-hmm. Does anyone remember Tabula Rasa? Oh, I remember Tabula Rasa. Hell yeah, dude. That game was kind of ahead of its time in some ways, and kind of not in others. Yeah, yeah, but it was fun. It was fun. Also, Neocron and the Matrix MMO. Oh, the Matrix MMO. So many interesting ideas that just none of them worked properly. In fact, I just tweeted about this yesterday. I just made a tweet like, what, 2 days ago, and I was like, the world needs Anarchy Online 2. I would love for like an actual up-to-date working Anarchy Online 2. Don't even change anything. Bring back Ruby Ka. Bring back Omnitech and the two sides. Like, use the same world. Like, oh man, if they just made like a new Anarchy Online, I would be all over that. I loved Anarchy Online. It was so cool. Anarchy Online was so ahead of its time. The thing about Anarchy Online is everything about it was so ahead of its time that none of the technology available at the time could keep up with it. None of it. The release of Anarchy Online was one of the biggest clusters I've ever seen in gaming. It added new features before it fixed old ones. So like throughout the entire life of Anarchy Online, it was never technically good. Like it was always janky, always. But it was cool enough, and it was trying so many cool things that it was actually really fun to play. You know, so that's one of the reasons I kind of wish that somebody just took Anarchy Online and gave it to like an established dev studio and was just like, make that in an engine today that actually works. And that would be today in some ways like a revolutionary MMO. There were things that AO was doing trying to do, I should say, that were just so cool and worked so well. Would have worked so well if they had worked properly. Like the procedural dungeons were really fun. Their skill system was really innovative and interesting. I love that they had like the Yamaha flying cars all over the place were fantastic. The classes were cool and interesting. The way that their PvP worked actually was pretty badass. I mean, like there were just so many things about it. Like one of the things I loved about AO is that you could get you'd basically go to a terminal and you'd get like a random procedural mission that was yours. And then what was so badass is it would just put it somewhere out in the world. And then all of a sudden you have your own little immersive journey. It might be in an area you've never been to before. It might be like completely new to you. And then you get there and the dungeon is like just made for you. It was such a cool idea. It was really, really fun. I miss SWTOR. Oh, but I played the hell out of some SWTOR. These are the rules of Hutball. That was like ingrained into my brain. I have a terrible memory, and I remember almost every word of that. 2 teams, frog dogs. Hutball is still the best MMO PvP. It was amazing, dude. We had like Hutball teams in our guild. We played that game so much. It was really fun. Yeah. Hutball was pretty rad, Red Eye. It was pretty rad. I agree. What are we, 16? Nice, dude. Yeah, big thanks to Pouty, who's been like just sitting here. I think Pouty is playing all 3 of these characters, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think there's like 2 other characters back here Pouty's playing. I really appreciate you leveling us tonight, dude. Griffin, Woo anniversary day evening, Cohh, Burnyai, the memories. Oh, dude, 22 months. Thank you, Griffin. I appreciate that, dude. What is my de facto favorite game of all time? Deus Ex 1. Yeah. Nuriel, the second I saw the thing, I drank some water. Yeah, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Is there a game similar to Pathfinder but more noob-friendly? Honestly, I'd say Pathfinder on a really easy difficulty could be pretty good. You could also try Solasta. It's a little bit more indie and a little bit more basic. You could also look at like custom systems that are a little bit more basic, like Pillars of Eternity. The Wasteland 3 systems are pretty good. Wasteland 2 as well. Yeah, kind of depends. Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, of course, are fantastic. But I guess it really depends on like what is the difficulty in the amount of options you have, or like the amount of numbers you're taking and putting out. Yeah. Did I play System Shock 2? Yeah, I didn't play it back in the day, but as much as I should have. But I liked it. I'm looking forward to playing the System Shock 2 remaster when it comes out. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, me and Nasai played SWTOR a lot when it came out. Nasai in chat is somebody who I've been playing MMOs with for, God, what now, Nasai? 8 years? 9 years? We've played a lot of MMOs together. Yeah, he's been in and out of CohhCarnage over the years too. 9 years now, yeah. Yeah. Or is it 10? Maybe it is 10 now. Damn. It's been a long time. Long time. 2011 is when we met on Rift. Oh, Rift! Oh, Rift was so much fun. I loved Rift. Rift was such a great combination of like a decent PvP game and also raiding. Oh, Rift was so good. And I loved the class system in Rift. The class system in Rift was so versatile and interesting. They did such a great job with that. They did such a great job with Rift. Carnage was clearing raids in SWTOR at half capacity by the end of the second month of the game. Yeah. That was pretty wild. We kind of rocked SWTOR into the ground. That was like we would actually split our raid force into 2 different teams and then send them in to get more loot. The Spetsnaz says, I think I'm Shadowban. No, I see you, buddy. You're there. Yeah. Tom the Gamer just ats him and says, yes. Sir, you are sending mixed messages. Mixed messages. Did I see the Wukong game trailer? Not the new one. Not the new one. Yeah. You can still play Rift? Yeah, I've heard Rift is still around. Which is pretty cool, Would I ever go back to SWTOR with all the expansions? Nah, probably not. I didn't really play SWTOR for like the stories and stuff. Yeah, that wasn't the big pull for me. That wasn't the big pull for me. I actually really like the raid. I like the raiding in SWTOR. I like the hut ball and the PvP and stuff like that. That stuff was pretty cool for me. Red Eye says Cohh hates Star Wars. Never play Ion? I played Ion for a little bit. I played Ion to the point where I could see the insane grind that I would need to continue enjoying and playing Ion. And at that point, I kind of came to the decision I wasn't quite enjoying it enough to make that jump. I did have a good time in it, though. I think I got to like 35 or so. But I just it was cool. I felt the same way about Lineage 2. Like I could see that it was cool. I had friends that were enjoying it, but I just got to a point where I was just kind of like, I wasn't getting enough out of it with how much I knew I would need to put in. Does that make sense? Yeah. Did you ever try Terra? Very briefly. The Terra aesthetic has never really been my jam. Yeah. Oh, Griffin, how are you liking the Warlock? The Warlock was not available in Solasta when I played it. How do you like it? Docked with the 13 months, and he says, boop. Thanks, buddy. What zone am I in right now? I am in the Field of Bone. How was I as a clan leader? As a guild leader, most of the time when I led guilds, they were progression guilds. So... it's not like it is now. Nasai says, Cohh is the best guild leader, best I've ever had anyway. Well, that's very nice of you, Nasai. I appreciate it. Like, the thing about me as a guild leader is I had a fundamental respect for people's time. And I made it clear that in the guilds that I ran, because I ran progressions guilds, that would essentially mean where it's like, okay, like I would try to be nice to people, but at the same time, like we could only like let me just put it this way. When I started streaming and there was a point when I kind of reinvented my channel and decided what I wanted to get from the community. What I decided is from my Twitch community, I wanted to take everything I learned from a guild leader and I wanted to make a community that had all of the good parts from when I led guilds without the competitive, slightly toxic need to do well. So I wouldn't say I was not a bad guild leader per se, but I definitely was a guild leader where I'm like, I understand why you're in this guild. And it's to have a good time, but it's also to do well. And in many cases, like we would be competitive on the servers we played on. So knowing that, like, please do well if you want to be in the guild and in the raiding party kind of thing. Yeah. So a little strict every now and then, but I tried not to be. But again, this was back when I led guilds was when I was definitely, I went through and I've talked openly about this. I definitely went through a hyper competitive part of my life. I went through a part of my life where for me to have fun, I had to do well. If I was doing poorly, I was not having fun. And that is a disconnect that is a connection that I didn't learn until later in life is not healthy. It wasn't healthy for me. Some people can go through their entire lives with that, and more power to them. But I got to a point where I realized like I can't keep going on like this. Like I need to learn how to have fun and how to actually like fundamentally enjoy things for what they are, and more importantly, not have a bad time when I'm not doing well. So that was a lesson I had to learn myself. Because the thing is when you get to that point, two things happen. First of all, when you get to that point, things that are supposed to bring you joy can bring you grief. And that is just, if you really trace back that line of thinking, that is a bad place to be in. Why would you want to put yourself in a position when our lives are so short, we're on this planet for such a brief amount of time anyway, why would you want to waste time doing something you enjoy and then not even enjoying it just because of something as meaningless as doing well? Like it's when you take a step back and look at the situation, it is such a waste of time. So for me, especially as I found myself doing, like doing poorer and poorer as time went on, the equation finally got to the point where it broke, So, another thing is that it does is if you really care about like how you're going, like if you really care only about how well you're going to do, you may not even play games. You may say, I know I'm not going to do well in that, so I'm not going to play it. And it's like, that could have been a great time, So you lose out on opportunities that could be really, really enjoyable. And that's unfortunate because if you're doing that in games, that means you're probably doing that in other parts of your life as well. So it's one of those things that kind of telescopes out. Sorry if that was a hard question. Hey, no, dude. Part of these EverQuest streams is just hanging out and talking about this stuff. I enjoy it. Yeah, it's fun. I like talking to you guys about this stuff. It's fun. I like reading your response just as much as I like talking about it. About what you guys are dealing with. Christ, I love EQ. EQ is pretty great. Yeah. Ghost for the win says, good talk, Ghost. Good talk, Ghost. Good talk. Sounds like you were a good leader. I wouldn't go as far as to say I was a good leader. I learned a lot about leading when I led, and there were definitely things I could have done better. But thankfully, and I mean this is the important thing. I don't regret any of it because all of that stuff got me to where I am today, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to sometimes go through the bad to learn how to do things better. So, it was a rough period in many respects, but at the same time, I'm really glad I went through it for sure. Saying good talk Cohh fast enough sounds like good taco. You're not wrong. Nasai says, the best part about being in Carnage is we were always ahead of the pack, so we got to be the ones formulating raid strategies rather than reading ones written by other people. Yes! I actually really like that too. That was really fun. One of the things that I loved about old school MMOs is a lot of times you couldn't Google the answers. So, we would be there on like day one trying to figure out raids and stuff, and like we'd be constantly messaging other guilds, like coyly asking like, hey, what percentage have you gotten to? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And it was very interesting. It was giant puzzle solving experiences with lots of like-minded people. It was fun. It was fun, for sure. No question. And what was even more interesting is times when we would beat a raid boss. And then we'd message and talk to another guild, and like these would be on day one raids, and they would have beaten it in like a completely different way, and we would be like, oh shit, we didn't even think about that, or they would tell us the same thing, and it's just like like that stuff was always really fun. What games are we playing tomorrow? Probably a day very similar to today. I'm thinking tomorrow will probably be another Final Fantasy 14 main quest day, and then probably another EQ evening. And then Monday, we're going to try the demo of Tales of Arise, which is like a super JRPG-style RPG. But apparently, it's making like some pretty big changes to the franchise. It's a very established franchise, and the new one makes a lot of changes. So we're going to see how it is. Yeah, we're going to see how the demo is. Poloborn Fly says, hey, Cohh, I moved from Ohio to Houston by myself, and it's been rough being so far and alone, but you and chat help ease it a bit. Well, hey, Polo, good vibes to you, man. Being alone in a brand new place is always a little unsettling. That's natural, and don't get worried about it. But keep on keeping on, dude. Good vibes to you. Hope the move goes steady for you. For sure. Just give it time. Every day it should get a little bit better. Yeah, Calm Tempest. I've actually never really played a Tales game, so I'm looking forward to trying it. I've heard really good things. Why return to Tarkov at some point? I tried to return to Tarkov in the last patch, but I didn't really... I wasn't a big fan of the new karma system for scavs. I had a rough few experiences at the very beginning, so I kind of ducked out a little bit. But I probably will go back eventually. I mean, Tarkov is just a fun game to play. So, yeah. Uranium Bullet, can we have some non-anime JRPGs? Well, yeah, that's kind of tough. I mean, that's kind of their thing over there, so, yeah. Kind of their thing. I love the Karma idea in Tarkov. I do too. I love the idea of Karma in Tarkov, but I wasn't super jazzed with the implementation. Yeah. I didn't really like how, for instance, you couldn't tell if somebody was in negative karma. That kind of like drove me a little bit crazy. But I think it's a very cool idea, and I think they should continue examining and playing with it. Mm-hmm. There's a cool middle ground in there somewhere. Fairly Arcade says it works so much better now. Oh, does it? Have they already been making changes? I honestly haven't been following it, so... Yeah. Maybe I'll look in again. Did I ever go to arcades back in the day? Oh yeah, I was mean at X-Men vs Street Fighter, like the original. Oh yeah. Nice, Norse Bjorn. Enjoy it, buddy. Oh my dude. Big shout out and thank you to my buddy Pouty, who basically just hung out with us and got us like 3+ levels, just chilling while we were talking. Claps for my friend Pouty. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I unfortunately need to go. It is late. I've been on for like 2.5 hours. I need to run. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow night. So if you want to come hang out and talk old school MMOs and just kind of relax a bit, well, you know where to find me. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this real quick. One sec. Do I even have a thing open for this? I don't even... What is this to? Is that the mouse? No, I need the mouse. What is this to? This goes to... Oh, that goes to the freaking thing that doesn't work. Okay. Hoorah. Let's try this again. Here we go. Ready? Oh, wait. Gotta open the software. Okay. And... Hurt. Oh, God, I messed this up, too. I have made a huge mistake. Okay. So... let's try to go here. Uh-oh. This might work. He says, maybe. It looks like it should work. Hold on, why is this not working? It looks like it should work. Oh, God. 1 second. Dude, it's not going to work. Okay, Welp. I very much appreciate y'all being here. I hope you have an excellent morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are around the globe. This has been quite the technical issues tonight, and I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.